Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel for Lost Moss, where everything philosophical is discussed. Now, today I'll be talking about Amor Fati, which is actually a phrase that was termed by Friedrich Nietzsche, which directly means love your fate. So, let's dissect the statement, and I'll give you my reasons as to why I advocate the statement. So, what is fate? Let's get a bit more clear on what that is. So within the experience of life, there's two sects to it. Fundamentally only two sects. Things you can control, things that are within your volitional range to alter and deliberately change, right? Your free will, basically. Things that you can alter within your life, within yourself. Okay, and then there's another set. There's things that you have no control over. There's circumstances, events that happen to you that you could not control. That appears to be destiny, appears to be fate, appears to be predetermined. So we are continuously bouncing back from these experiences. We continuously have the experience of feeling as if we are in control, we are altering certain circumstances to better benefit our lives and make quality of to improve the quality of our lives. We seem as if we have control over that, but then certain situations tend to happen that appear to be circumstances that are out of our control, things that we did not call forth, things that we had no deliberate intention of experiencing. So fate is basically occurrences, events, and circumstances that transpire in your life that seem to be orchestrated by the intelligence of nature, the universe, God, whatever you want to call that energy. So, falling in love with your fate, falling in love with what happens to you that is out of your control, it shifts your perception on a very fundamental basis, because normally how we react to undesired events is we want to wage war against it. We want to move away from it. We resist it. We want to find any alternative and find any means necessary to get rid of it or to avoid it. So that is how we generally respond to things that we have no control over. It is very rare that you come across an individual that accepts things that are undesired and unfavorable. So when you approach your life, your circumstances, your past with this kind of consciousness, then you allow whatever lesson that circumstance is encoded with to unravel itself. Because generally when life appears to be repetitive, I actually have a video on this. It's called Unending Cycles, in which I speak about the natural mechanism behind life, that your experiences are unending cycles and they keep continuing and continuing because you are screening out reality in the same way. Thus, you're going to get the same feedback. So, if you are continuously resisting your fate, then whatever your fate has within it that is beneficial for you will never be discovered, because you continuously impress and impose that situation that continuously happens that is out of your control, or a situation that just happens that's out of your control that you did not deliberately call forth. Then if you don't fall in love with that, what tends to happen is that it continues to transpire in your life until you get it. See, so it's like the intelligence of the universe designed life to enable us to get a grasp and observe and learn and expose the illusions that we continuously carry. So when things appear to be repetitive in the negative sense, it means that we're not necessarily extracting the appropriate information that we need to out of it. And that is why we would call it fate. It's a self fulfilling prophecy. For example, if I'm a person who continuously loses a phone, I know people who continuously, like on a moment to moment basis, like any new phone that they get, they lose it. Now, that appears to be fate. I mean, when you lose your phone, sometimes it's out of your control. I mean, maybe a thief can take your phone, or maybe your phone falls into water, or maybe you just dropped it and you were not aware of it. Like most cases, most people lose their phone not deliberately. So when that occurs, it seems to be fate. But in actuality, it's a self fulfilling prophecy. There was a moment where your phone initially got stolen. And the way you related to that was that, like I have bad luck, or you had a negative reaction to that. And thus it happened again. And you had that same response. So it's happening again. And you're having that same response. That is why you keep getting that same feedback, because you're responding the same way. It's like something keeps happening to you and you're expecting it to change, but you're still approaching that situation with the same frequency. So why Friedrich Nietzsche says, Amor Fati, love your fate, basically accept everything and love everything that you cannot control. I actually put up on my status message on my WhatsApp that if fate has you destined to experience failure, then Omar Fati, love your fate. Fail so much that you supersede nature and fate's expectation. So fail so much that you fail more than what is required, if that makes sense, because that is your fate. Love that about you. Whatever is negative about you, whatever is something that appears to be repetitively occurring in your life that is undesired and unfavorable, instead of approaching it from a state of reluctance and avoidance and resistance, embrace it. Embrace it. And once you embrace it, you enable it to unravel all the gifts and all the lessons that it has for you, so that you do not repeat that experience again. But usually, as Bashar said, which is an extraterrestrial being channeled through Daniel Anchor, what he said is that normally when we put out a new frequency into the world, when we decide to behave differently, when we decide to assume a new perspective and assume a new form of self, what tends to happen, the feedback that we get from the world, is that it echoes what was carried before in the past. So it echoes who you were previously. But when you continuously and persistently view the world and assume that new position and assume that new behavior, then you get feedback that correlates to what you're giving out. So when you love your fate, you make your fate your friend. You make destiny your alliance, because now you're no longer forming a negative relationship, a relationship where you're trying to conquer it or overrule it or destroy it or eliminate it. You're no longer coming at it from that approach. Now you're loving your fate. Now you're accepting your fate, and that gives you more access to more information that is contained in your fate that you previously could not notice and become aware of, because you already had an idea about it that it is negative. But now if you shift your perception and you allow yourself to view it in a different way, then new information exposes itself to you. So when you love your fate, it's not a sense of saying, okay, any negative trait that I have within me, I'm going to allow it to stay there and I'm not going to seek to change it. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that when it is there, do not seek to change it at that moment. At that moment, what you need to do is accept it. Allow it to be there. Allow it. Don't seek to change it. And by allowing it, you enable it to distribute the relevant information to your consciousness as to why that thing is happening. So the state to which you approach your fate is crucial. If you approach your fate, your destiny, from a negative perception, then fate, destiny, becomes a negative thing. But when you approach it positively, then you open up all new possibilities. And you actually realize more and more that what has been called fate, what has been called as events and circumstances that appear to be out of your control, what appears to be orchestrated by the supernatural beings, gods that have designed this reality, what appears to be out of your control is actually something that you are deciding on a moment-to-moment basis. The life that you're living right now is the accumulation of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and what you imagined your reality to be. So ultimately, on the deepest level, you are creating your fate. So love your creation, love it, and then once you see that it no longer serves you, then let it go. And the only way to let go of something is to adopt something new. Adopt a new sense of faith, a new sense of action, a new sense of thought, and a new sense of feeling. That's what breaks that cycle of fate that appears to be something that you cannot control. But in actuality, you can. But it requires an absolutely varnished sense of consciousness that is continuously prying and aware of your moment-to-moment decisions that you make. Every moment is an incubator. Every moment is a portal for you to decide where the momentum of your life goes. So if you approach things in the correct manner, then even the most destructive sense of fate that can exist for you becomes something positive, becomes something beautiful, and becomes a tool for you to transform your life even more. So thank you very much, guys, for listening to this video. Please like, please share, please subscribe, as you know. And to end it off, as I always end it off, for those who seek no more, for in the present we find it all. Thank you very much, guys.